Welcome to part 2 of reviewing every single X-Men movie every week until the release of Deadpool and Wolverine. For this video, I'll be reviewing X-Men First Class, X-Men Apocalypse, and X-Men Dark Phoenix. So let's just get straight to it. X-Men First Class was directed by Matthew Vaughn, and he really helped breathe a whole new setting for the X-Men and set up a much different tone with much different bonds with all of the characters. And one thing that I really liked is the chemistry between all of the cast felt so genuine, and it also felt like it was opening a new chapter into the X-Men world, and we're also discovering all of these new mutants we never seen in the past movies too. And this film as a prequel, I honestly think it's one of the greatest prequel films of all time. Unfortunately, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine is not in this film, but he does make a quite of a funny cameo that does play on in Days of Future Past. I really like Matthew Vaughn's direction. He really added so much new aspects and took the storytelling in a much dramatic route, whilst also including some spy espionage type of story, because it can be so fun and really emotional and highly dramatic at the same time, and all of those were balanced so well. And hell, even for X-Men First Class, I even have such a hot take. After seeing James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender's performances as Professor X and Magneto, I honestly think I prefer them over Ian McKellen and Sir Patrick Stewart's Professor X and Magneto, because their characters added so much more depth, and I personally felt more connected to them. But that's just how I personally feel though. And Nicholas Holt's Beast was not that good. I didn't like the design, but him as the character of Beast, he really gave it more of a personality, and I think he gave a great performance. And my final rating for X-Men First Class would be a 9 out of 10. It is honestly one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. Now before I go to X-Men Apocalypse, the reason why I'm excluding X-Men Days of Future Past is because I did the 6-minute in-depth video on it, expressing why I think it's a masterpiece and I love it so much. And X-Men Days of Future Past is also one of the greatest comic book movies in my opinion too. So if you want to see that video, just click on one of these links if it's up here in one of the corners, or the link in the description. Now on to X-Men Apocalypse. What an absolute disaster of a movie. I really love Oscar Isaac, and hell, I even hugged the guy, but he gives such a terrible and god-awful performance. This movie is so horrible to a point where I don't want to go too in-depth through it, and I think the kindest way to review this film is by stating the pros and the cons. So let's start off with the pros. There are some very well done VFX, and keep in mind on the emphasis on the some. The Weapon X Wolverine sequence is just complete perfection. A few days ago I actually read the Weapon X Deluxe comic, and now I appreciate that sequence much more. But that whole sequence is a good contender of why this movie is not exactly fully bad. The scene with Professor X and Apocalypse fighting in their minds was just purely epic. It was also pretty nice seeing some more mutants that weren't in the past films as well, and the Quicksilver scene is so great and very iconic. Now on to the cons. This movie just makes the prequel concept very messed up and completely ruins the continuity of all of the films. Like, why the hell is Angel even in this film if he got his powers in X-Men The Last Stand? And the writing is just a huge steaming piece of crap. Like, I appreciate Apocalypse as a villain, and I think he's pretty okay, but it definitely was not a good choice to introduce him in a prequel film. And I think the best way to describe this movie is it feels like a complete deconstruction of First Class in all of the worst ways. And Sophie Turner as Jean Grey is very much so miscast. There is way too much weird things, and all you should know is I do not like this movie at all. And I hated the fact so much that they included very comic accurate suits at the end. It just felt like they were jingling keys in front of us and then just threw it away. Because not only do they not wear the comic accurate suits in the original trilogy, they don't even wear the suits in the next movie. I'm getting a headache just talking about this damn movie. My rating for this movie is a 2 out of 10. Now on to X-Men Dark Phoenix. I had the displeasure of watching this in theaters, and I was incredibly disappointed, and I am still disappointed. They took such a great storyline and just shoved it in the trash, especially having such a terrible miscast Jean Grey as the main center point of this movie. I just could not stand it at all. All I can say is there's almost no redeeming qualities, and this is just pure trash. I do appreciate that the actors did give it a chance though, and my overall rating is 0.5 out of 10. Overall, Deadpool Wolverine releases in July 25, and make sure to stay tuned because I'll be continuing to review all of the X-Men movies soon. And next week I'll be reviewing the Wolverine trilogy, so stay tuned. And make sure to subscribe and hit that like button and the bell icon to get my videos on time. Only if you enjoyed though. And comment down below what is your favorite X-Men movie.
Goodbye, old friend.
Good luck, Professor.